Start, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11th. The title is The Perfect Society for Social Classes. Text 13. Those who have been reformed by the Garbhadana ceremony and other prescribed reformatory methods performed with the Vedic mantras and without interruption, and who have been approved by Lord Brahma and Divijas, or twice born. Such Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, purified by their family traditions and by their behavior, should worship the Lord, study the Vedas, and give charity. In this system, they should follow the principles of four ashramas: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. Text 14. For a Brahmana, there are six occupational duties. A Kshatriya should not accept a charity, but he may perform the other five of these duties. A king or Kshatriya is not allowed to levy tax on Brahmanas, but he may make his livelihood by uh, levying minimal taxes, custom duties, and penalty fines upon his other subjects. Text 15. The mercantile community should always follow the directions of the Brahmanas and engage in such occupational duties as agriculture, trade, and protection of cow. For the Sudras, the only duty is to accept a master from a higher social order and engage in his service. Text 16. As an alternative, a Brahmana may also take to the Vaishya's occupational duty of agriculture, cow protection, or trade. He may depend on that which he has received without begging. He may beg in the paddy field every day, and he may collect the paddy left in the field by its proprietor, or he may collect food grains left here and there in the shops of grain dealers. These are four means of livelihood that may also be adopted by the Brahmanas. Among these four, each of them in the succession is better than the one presiding it. Text 17. Except in a time of the emergency, lower persons should not accept the occupational duties of those who are higher. When there is such an emergency, of course, everyone but the Kshatriya may accept the means of livelihood of others. Text 18 to 20th. In the time of emergency, one may accept any of the various types of the professions known as Rata, Amarta, Mrata, Parmata, and Satyarnata, but one should not at any time accept the profession of a dog, the profession of Anchalisa. Collecting the grains from the field is called a rata. Collecting without begging is called amarta. Begging grains is called mrata. Tilling the ground is called parmata. And the trade is called satya nata. Engaging in the service of the lower grade persons, however, is called swavriti. The professions of the dogs. Specifically, the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas should not engage in the lower and the abdominal service of the Sudras. Brahmanas should be well acquainted with all the Vedic knowledge, and Kshatriyas should be well acquainted with the worship of the demigods. Text 21. The symptoms of the Brahmanas are control of a mind, control of the senses, austerity and penance, cleanliness, satisfaction, forgiveness, simplicity, knowledge, mercy, truthfulness, and complete surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 22. To be influented or in the battle, unconquerable, patient, challenging, and charitable, to control the bodily necessities, to be forgiving, to be attached to the Brahmanical nature, and to be always jolly and truthful. These are the symptoms of the Kshatriyas. Text 23. Being always devoted to the demigods, the spiritual master, and the supreme Lord, Vishnu, endeavoring for the advancement in the religious principles, economic development, and the sense gratification, dharma, artha, and karma, believing in the words of the spiritual master and the scriptures, and always endeavoring with the expertise in the earning money. These are the symptoms of the Vaishyas. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Radharani Mataji, for reading the Bhagavatam translation today. Thank you, Sundaran Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Krupamudittamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girum yatkrupa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much. So today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. So in this chapter 11, starting from verse number 13. So in this chapter, there was a question that Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking. So the question that he is asking is, he would like to hear about the principles of religion and how one can attain the ultimate goal of life, which is the devotional service. And he's also asking about general occupational duties. I think a lot of us generally ask this question: what should what kind of occupation should I do? How should I? What kind of a social structure that I fit in? So basically, Yudhishthira Maharaj is clarifying this for all of us, and Sukadeva Goswami is going to elaborate further about how the Varnashrama system, ideal Varnashrama system, is established and what are the duties and qualities of each of them. So, in the beginning, first verse to 12th verse, now Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating about what Narada Muni is saying of. Um, so there are Sukadeva Goswami elaborates, Narada Muni elaborates basically the principles of to be followed by every human being. So he elaborates 30 principles. These are the just by acquiring these qualities, these qualifications, one can actually satisfy the Supreme Lord. So it's very beautiful that we can understand that. So just by acquiring these qualities, we automatically satisfy the Supreme Lord, and then now Narada Muni is further explaining how these qualities manifest in different varnas and different ashramas. So the four varnas we know: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and four ashramas: Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. So now everyone in this world, they come into existence by birth. So we all know Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the seed giving father. So, all of the existence happens through the seed, in the form of a seed, and the manifestation happens. So, now if you look at the human beings, we are all born through father and mother. So, that is the origin of a living entity, human being. So, that beginning of that life, human being life, there is a samskara called Garbhadana samskara. So Garbha, like Garbha means, if you go to temples, they say Garbha Graha. So sanctum sanctorum, like, so the mother's womb is the actually very holy place where the birth of the living entity happens. It starts, that seed enters to the into the womb, and then the whole living entity manifests over there. So even before that happens, there is a samskara that one performs, especially Brahmanas perform this samskara. So through this samskara, they invite a soul which is very pious and very spiritual into their uh, mother's womb. So that is a particular samskara for that, Garbhadana samskara. So such people, such living entities are twice born. They are Dvijas, they are Brahmanas. So by birth itself, they are Brahmanas because such ceremony is being performed by father and mother. They invite very pious souls so that these living entities, by birth, they are all Brahmanas, twice born. So Dvijas. So in this verse number 13, it says, Samskara yatra vinchinna sa dvija jo jagada ayam. So here vihitani dvijan dvijan manam janma karma vadanam. So kriyas. So either so here it is said that so such brahmanas are they are all approved by Lord Brahma by by Garbhadan Samskara. They are all becoming Dvijas by birth itself, and then later on they are all purified by following the family traditions. So and then they take up the worship, study of the Vedas, and charity, Danam, all that principles of family they take up. So now Narada Muni is just introducing the system of Varnashram. So he's introducing how the birth happens, how the Brahmanas who are pure souls, they come into existence by this process of Garbhadana Samskara. So, so now Narada Muni is elaborating. Yeah, earlier he said 30 qualifications for ideal human being. So now Narada Muni is elaborating on how they fit into four varnas and ashramas. So now, so we all know in the Kali Yuga, the whole varnashram system is very much topsy-turvy. So topsy-turvy means it's not hierarchical. It's like ups and down. It's kind of mixed up. So if you go to a kitchen, if it's not organized, everything is mixed up. You will not be able to find where is what. So similarly in Kali Yuga also, the qualities of Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Udras, everything is mixed up. So you cannot find ideal Brahmana, ideal Vaishya, ideal Kshatriya. It's all mixed up. So that's why in the Kali Yuga it is said Kalu Sudra Sambhava. By birth, everyone is a Sudra. And then Samskara Bhavidvija. Like, so by samskaras, by performing these ceremonies where they get a particular aspect of all of these samskaras is connected with Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu. So every samskaras they perform, their consciousness gets purified, and they turn into a particular consciousness that they may fit into one of these categories of occupation. Either their consciousness might fit into a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya, but by birth they are all Shudras. So that is what in Kali Yuga, because of this, there is a lot of Varna Shankara population, meaning they're all mixed up. They don't have a dedicated culture. So because of this, the whole population, it's very difficult for rulers to rule with a bad population. They're always creating havoc situations. So, and then now Narada Muni is going on to explain how each of these arnas has a particular occupation, and what kind of occupation one should accept. In emergency situation, can a kshatriya accept a brahmana's occupation, or can a brahmana accept a vaishya's occupation or a kshatriya occupation? All these questions now Narada Muni is explaining. So it's very important to understand these principles. So now Narada Muni is saying that a brahmana, there are six occupations. So we all know that their Brahmana has Patana, Patana, Jajana, Jajana, Dana, Pratigraha. So Brahmana is reads scriptures, Vedic knowledge, and he also teaches the Vedic scriptures. Patana, Patana. And Jajana, Jajana. So he worships, takes up the worship of deities, Archa Vigraha, and then he also teaches others how to perform sacrifices. So Jajana Dana Pratigraha, so he can also accept charity. So among these four Varnas, only Brahmana is allowed to accept charity. So no other Varna, not even Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they all cannot accept any charity. And a Brahmana is also supposed to give charity. So these all six occupations. So when I say occupation, we should understand that through occupation we live. We need to sustain this body and soul together. So when we perform some occupation, we get in return some Lakshmi, and then that Lakshmi is used to maintain this body and soul together. So occupation not necessarily is mixed with bhakti. Like any occupation, anyone be actually a devotion. So even a Sudra, by his occupation, he can be a devotee of Vishnu, and Vaishya can be a devotee of Vishnu, a Brahmana can be a devotee of Vishnu, and similarly a Kshatriya can be a devotee of Vishnu. So when these occupations are done, he gets something, some Lakshmi to maintain his body and soul together. And Brahmana, of course, his occupation itself is aligned towards worshipping the Lord Vishnu. So that is the speciality, so the occupation itself is being aligned. So let's see how Narada Muni is explaining. So now Narada Muni is saying that how Kshatriya, he how he is supposed to, what kind of occupation he is supposed to live. A Kshatriya may not accept any charity. So he also cannot accept any taxes from Brahmanas. So he can uh, apply some taxes on common citizens, and then if there are any negligence in following the rules, he can put some penalties. So he can collect that money. So that way, Kshatriya maintains his body and soul and his subjects also. So so here, Prabhupada explaining on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the position of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. So he's also quoting one Manu Samhita verse. So he's saying Brahmanas, there are three qualities are very compulsory. So basically, worshipping the deity, studying the scriptures, and giving charity. So these three are compulsory. So out of six qualities, six qualifications, these three occupational duties are very compulsory for a Brahmana. So, so a Brahmana cannot take up any professional occupational duty for his livelihood. Like the Shastras, he cannot engage in the service of anyone, especially lower. So Brahmana is in the higher platform. He's the highest in the Varnashram system. So he cannot accept any service. That's why it's like there are two different things: accepting service and accepting charity. Sometimes we accept any money from anyone. It's kind of we are taking service from. No, it's not like that. So brahmanas, they will perform, say, a particular yagya, and then they might take charity. But when so that is not as taking service. Taking service means they're basically doing menial service, doing anything, engaging in the service of others, that the brahmana cannot do it. So that is what is being mentioned here. For example, in the when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, there is Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. They took up service from Nawab Hussain Shah. And then eventually they changed the names into Mohammedan names like Sara Malik, like that. And then they were completely engaging in that service. That is actually prohibited. So, because of rendering service to Shudras like that, so that time they are considered fallen. So, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, later on, they understood and they basically came in contact with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they completely transformed into the exalted personalities. So, so now Narada Muni again, now he's explaining about how a mercantile Vaishya community, Vaishya should, what kind of occupation. So we know from Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna explains that Rishi Goraksha Vanidyam. So they can do trade, they can do agriculture, and they are supposed to protect the cows, Goraksha. So, and then the Sudras, they have to perform service to the higher Varnas. So even Sudras, they should not perform service to lower, like there are Chandalas, Yavanas, because the goal is to always perform service to the higher Varna so that you can imbibe good qualities. So that is the rule of thumb. So Sudras, they are supposed to accept service either from Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, or Brahmanas. So, so now going forward, so in the verse number 16, now Narad Muni is explaining, um, what if there is an emergency, like a Brahmana is not getting any charity, he doesn't have any food grains to eat, can he perform a Vaishya occupation? Like this kind of emergency. So these all the questions now Narada Muni is explaining. Now he's clarifying all these doubts. So now Narada Muni is saying that a Brahmana can also take up a Vaishya's occupational duty, like agriculture, cow protection, or trade. He may just depend on cows, and milk from the cows, and maintain his family. So that is allowed for a Brahmana. Or he may also, like there is something called Unjavriti. Like in South India, if you go to Tamil Nadu, they say Unjavriti. In those days, Brahmanas used to follow that process of accepting livelihood. Like they will go to a paddy field, just like if the paddy field is just being harvested, there'll be a lot of food grains they'll be left in the paddy field. So they'll not collect. They may not be able to collect 100%. So some grains will be left. So they'll just collect those grains, and they'll crush it and then make rice out of it, and then they will live by that livelihood. So that is called Unjavriti. Still, some Brahmanas, they follow in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So, and then they will collect like that, or they will also in beg food grains from others. If you go to field, if they're harvesting, they'll just give some food grains. They will just accept that. Like this, there are different means that Brahmanas will adopt. So, so now there basically are accept. So the rule of thumb is the Brahmanas, their own occupational duties like Patana Patana, Jajana Jajana, Dana Pratigraha, that is the best. If not, they can accept a Vaishya's occupational duty. That is like a second thing, that's like a lower thing. If not, they can. So like that, there are several. several successions, how in case of emergency, how one can actually accept occupation without transgressing the Vedic culture. So so now in whether like, so the Unjavriti is considered higher, like a Brahmana going into a field and then collecting the grains on his own is considered higher rather than begging from the grain shop or something. So that is how the Shastras explain and Nardamani is explaining. So only in that is also is accepted only in the case of emergency. So, but even in the case of emergency, any varnas like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, Kshatriya or Vaishya, they is not supposed to accept any service from, render any service to lower Shudras. So that is prohibited even in the case of emergency. So only the occupation, they can change in the case of emergency, and also it is the only exclusion here that Nardamani is saying is a Kshatriya may not accept, even in case of emergency, a Kshatriya cannot accept the means of livelihood for others. So we can understand the importance of Kshatriya given by the Vedic culture. So protect. He's supposed to protect the Brahmanas. He's protect the cows, the older generation, women, children. So Kshatriya's duties are very much important in the society. So it's supposed to protect the society from thieves and rogues. So it's very much considered a higher. Uh, uh, so that's why even in emergency, it said the Kshatriya may not accept the means of livelihood for others. So in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was overwhelmed by grief, he says, "Oh Krishna, I will rather live by begging. I do not want to kill my kinsmen. What should I actually achieve by killing my own kinsmen?" So at that point, Krishna even chastises Arjuna that you are speaking like Shudra, like you're speaking like big words, but whatever you're speaking is has no value. So Krishna does not recommend a Kshatriya accepting a livelihood of begging. So Kshatriya must protect the citizens by ruling over the citizens, and he can levy taxes, and so that way he can protect the citizens. So generally, so here, a very important point Prabhupada is elaborating. So here in Nardamani is saying in case of emergency, the occupations can be changed. So like if you see the Krishna consciousness movement, ISKCON, we are encouraging everyone to take up Krishna consciousness, and gradually the Srila Prabhupada's disciples, the Guru Maharaj, they are all giving Diksha, Harinam Diksha and Brahman Diksha. So they are making Brahmanas from any class of society. They can be from any class of society, provided they chant the holy name of the Lord, they accept the four regulative principles, and they take up the principles of reading scriptures regularly and maintaining a mode of life which is sattvic. So, how is this possible? That now Prabhupada is elaborating that because in Kali Yuga there is an emergency. So, there is emergency going on, that the whole society, there are not many Brahmanas who can lead the society to the higher standards of life. So there are no ideal Brahmanas. So there is an emergency going on. So that we need more Brahmanas so that the society should know what is the real goal of life, how to achieve the real goal of life, how to practice Krishna consciousness. The Brahmanas are supposed to teach this Vedic knowledge. So because of this emergency, now Prabhupada is saying that Krishna consciousness movement, they are all training. By birth in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Sudra. So now whoever is interested, they're all being trained in Krishna consciousness so that they can become ideal brahmanas. So this is the answer for that question, why in Kali Yuga we are training brahmanas from any class of society, meaning there is an emergency. So we need spiritual progress in the human society, but in Kali Yuga that spiritual progress is stopped. So now Narada Muni himself is saying this, and in the verse number 18 to 20, now he is elaborating in the case of emergency what kind of profession can be accepted, um, and so he's elaborating on all of these. So in essence, what Narada Muni is saying is one can accept there are the hierarchical one can accept his own occupation or the occupation of others in case of emergency, but at any point of time one should not accept engage in service to the lower grade of varna. So the reason is when you do service to lower grade varna, you will actually imbibe those qualities from them. So their low qualities you will imbibe, like generally the qualities, the vices like kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, maksharya. So all these vices will be present in the low grade of people, and you when you do service to them, you'll obviously become more lusty, more greedy. So that is why it is prohibited. It's not that the shastra is very particular because of this reason. And so so here the verse number 21, starting from verse number 21, now Narada Muni is explaining the qualities of each varna. So the brahmana is being started first. Samadhamastapa saucham santosha shantirarjavam jnanam daya achyutatmatvam satyam cha brahma lakshanam. So here the qualities of brahmana is being mentioned. So in the Bhagavad Gita also a similar verse comes. So here achyutatmatvam. So this word achyuta atmatvam is accepting oneself as a servant of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So achyuta. So Lord Krishna. So this is a particular quality of a Brahmana. So this is Brahma Lakshanam. So controlling the mind, senses, austerity, cleanliness. So all of this, simplicity, these are all qualities of Brahmana. So the speciality of Brahmana is this Achyutatmatvam. So to think always of Krishna, to think of himself as a servant of the Lord, and to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So now Kshatriya, again, similarly from Bhagavad Gita, Shauryam Viryam Dhritis Tejas Tyagas Chat At Atmajayaha Kshama Brahmanyata Prasadasya Satyam Cha Shatra Lakshanam. So here specifically, like Virya, like to be very strong in battle, and he's supposed to be very charitable, and Kshatriya is supposed to be very charitable, and he's also very forgiving, and he's attached to Brahmanical culture. So among the Brahmanical qualities, Kshatriya also can follow the Brahmanical qualities except one quality, except accepting charity. So that he cannot do, but all other qualities Kshatriya also follows. He's attached to Brahmanical culture. He protects Brahmanas, and he's also very unique. Mention here is Prashadaha. Is always jolly and truthful. Is a very unique mention here. And the last verse, verse number 23, it is mentioned here how Deva Guru Achyuta Bhakti. So the Vaishyas, they are devoted to Deva, like demigods, Guru, spiritual master, and Achyuta, like Lord Vishnu. So Bhakti, they engage in devotional service, and they are attached to Trivarga, like three religious principles: Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Pariposhanam. So they are fully attached to Trivarga, and they faithfully engage in the Astikyam religious principles. So they are Vaishyas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, they're all Shudras, they're all Astikya. I mean, they're all actually one who believes in scriptures, reads scriptures. They are not. So none of these varnas. There is an element of bhakti in every element, every varna. So that point we should understand. The occupation may be different, but there is an element of bhakti in every varna. So, and then Udyama Nityam Naipunyam. So Vaishya Lakshanam. So they always kind of working and endeavoring how to earn money. So this is the quality of Vaishya. So here Narada Muni is explaining. It's a very, very important topic. Very detail is explaining. So this concludes the today's verse number 23. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। वंचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you very much.
Hare. I have a small question, Prabhuji. Is it okay if I ask?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, as you mentioned, like we are not supposed to work under the lower grade, lower ashramas. But as Prabhupada mentioned, like we should not see the Varna ashrama, but we have to see the qualities which relates like what Brahmana Kshatriya. So here it's related to the quality of a person, or it's like ashramas, Prabhuji, because not everybody is like same qualities, right?
Yes, Mataji. It's all about qualities and activities. It's not about where the birth is not considered. So that's why we should not consider the birth. So we should, if the qualities are exalted, like a Brahmana, he is a Brahmana. If the qualities are like similar to Kshatriya, he is a Kshatriya. So like that, we have to understand.
But as you mentioned, like we are not supposed to work under the lower
Right,
grade.
right. So if the qualities are abominable, for example, a Kshatriya, in an emergency, he may Kshatriya is an exception here. It's said that Kshatriya cannot accept any of the other occupations. For example, Brahmana, in an emergency, he can take cows and then he can till the land, he can live livelihood, but he cannot go and just take up like a salary job from Sudra or Chandala or any other categories. It is not recommended. Even from Vaishya, he is not supposed to do service because he will imbibe the qualities of Vaishya by doing service to them. So that is what Shastra is saying. So Shastra is very strict because of this particular aspect. So Vaishya meaning, I'm not saying by birth, I'm saying that a Vaishya who is attached to earning money, who's tilling the land, and he's more working in a trade or cow protection. A Brahmana who's on the higher Varna, if he accepts service like a salary job, then he might eventually end up with the qualities of the same Vaishya. So that is the reason.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. But in Kali Yuga, I mean, it's all topsy-turvy, like I said. So we have to follow the Daivi Varnashram, like what Prabhupada is established. Regardless of we all have salary jobs and we work in different capacities. So we should, as far as possible, we should work and then use our Lakshmi in the service of Krishna. That way, that whatever Lakshmi we get, that is also purified and our qualities become purified, because there is some element of that in the Lakshmi that we get when we serve this lower grade people. We get all this qualities from them. So in order to purify, we have to engage ourselves in the bhakti. Our earnings also we have to engage so that it becomes purified.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.